Thanks to the support as a channel member, Timothy Howland. Well, after narrowly missing out on the playoffs last season, despite having our 3 top young players sold out from under us in January, the one and only goal for this summer transfer window is to not let any more of them go. Hello and welcome to part 28 of the Tour de France. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it's our season review and transfer special at the end of the 2025-26 season, the first season of the save, where we haven't got promoted, although we got pretty close. This is our season review for the season, starting things off with signing of the season, Habib Keita. I don't think anyone could really argue with that. Came in 27 appearances or 27 starts, 11 goal contributions, averaged a 7. Certainly once Vaquero left, he really did come into his own as an attacking force for us as well, but a solid midfield player across all the midfield positions. Still only 24 years old as well, so lots of potential for him to continue improving. Martinez, Sana, both very good signings as well. Renault, of course, came in and did good stuff, and then a few of these we didn't see very much of at all, and we'll probably be looking to move on. And the loans, less impressive than they have been in previous years as well. But ultimately, it was a successful season. The board asked me to try and avoid relegation. We avoided relegation. We finished 6th, narrowly outside of the playoff spots, missing out on the playoffs on the last day. We've got an A+ off the board. They're delighted. I'm delighted. And we had some lovely moments along the way as well. The finances are the key thing for us going into this summer, because I have no idea if we're going to get any transfer money just yet. We're still a 2-star reputation club. Sponsorships are up slightly on last year. The broadcast revenue, £4 million a year now, where we weren't getting any previously. But as we saw in the last episode, when we dug into the finances a little bit, that's all been eaten up in the increased salaries that we have at this level now. So it's not like we've got a £4 million war chest that's going to kick in over this summer. That money has come in over the course of the season. It's all been spent. We also sold nearly £2 million off a player. So although all the money is up, it's not up high enough for us to compete in this division, never mind the division above. And we need to continue trying to increase all of this stuff and accept the fact we're probably going to have to sell our best young players every season until we can sneak over that finish line, get ourselves into Ligue and hope that more money follows from there. I hear there's quite a rich club in that league, and hopefully the money filters its way down a little bit. This is our team of the year. Mandrea in goal, a back four of Cisse, Deleste, Martinez, Abdullah, Carter, who, of course, is not going to be with us this coming season unless we can get him back in on loan. Keita and Traore in midfield, and then Gotan, Babai, and Tutu as the front three. Tutu was a constant frustration to me all season long, and we need a proper striker to come in this summer. Despite having said that, Gabriel Tutu at 22 years old, I forget how young he still is because he's been here 3 years, did win Fans Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. Keita, we know, got signing of the season. Oliver Vaquero winning goal of the season. Would have been the team of the year as well if he hadn't have been sold. Tutu, top scorer, but only with 13 goals is a very sad statistic for me. Gotan, most assists with 7 and most man of the matches with 3. And Martinez got the top average rating. We didn't get any competition awards this year. We did break our record transfer fee, bringing in Boubacar Kamara, who went on to play 5 times. I really don't have much of a record for spending money yet in this save. We need to take that into account and focus in on the players we've got in our own development centre and free transfers. That's what we've got to build this team around, he says, knowing budgets are just there. And if they're big, we're probably gonna spend the money, aren't we? Our all-time best 11, there's a lot of familiar faces in there who are no longer with us. Goda, of course, moved on last year and is now playing way back down in the regional league. Because again, Tannard also leaving us last year, wasn't able to make the step up to this level. Stephen Boyd is a player we would love to have back, but probably realistic, he will never get back. He's 20 years old now, earning $7,000 a week with 4 more years left on his contract, and he's valued quite high, considerably better than anyone else we've got at the club, and played 11 times for Marseille in Ligue 1 last year. So I don't even think there's going to be much of a chance of us loaning him in, but he is still in the Dream 11 for the time being. Mohamed Mukhtar Kamara, left a little while ago. I'm surprised Deleste isn't in there, to be honest. He's had a couple of seasons now. You'd think he'd be in there on that right-hand side. Usama Amimi, it's been a while since he was here. Still in at right back. Brian, who maybe we let go a season too soon. He created a lot of assists back then, but looks like he's been having a very nice time in Luxembourg. So leave him to it. Traore obviously is still here. Perron is another one who was with us for a long time. It got released last season. And Wimber looks like he retired, having left us to go to Bastia, ended up retiring age 29. Much sadness. Big Fat Dennis is playing for Pacey Mean Isles and got 6 goals for him on a 7.24, continuing his career record of scoring at more than a goal a game. The man is a big fat goal machine, and partnered by Salah Bouzrara, as he was all the way through. He's gone to Tunisia and only scored 4 goals all season. So that's a little bit of a shame for him, that he's no longer the goal threat he once was. But I know what we want. We want budgets. Give me big ones. Try it again. I know what we want. We want budgets. Give me big ones. Well, that's the money we already had. We came into it. We had that. That's the money that was left over from selling the players we sold in January. They've given us precisely 0 additional transfer budget, and the wage budget hasn't really changed. And you can see we're already almost maxed out on it. So don't expect us to be revolutionising this team this summer. I just want to double check how we fit in for wages compared to the rest of the division, just to see what we're up against. We're 17th for wages with a £3 million wage bill per annum. Only 3 teams spending less than that. The top teams in the division spending 3 times that plus. Sponsorship income wise, again, we are presumably way down this list. Yeah, there we are. 18th place with £1.5 million of sponsorships. This is an area we really need to try and increase. With some clubs, £5 million plus. This would be a great moment to throw over to a brand deal, but I haven't got a sponsor lined up for the episode either. So both me and the club should focus in more on sponsors. We've all got kids to feed after all. Let's have a look to see what else we've got going on here. The club vision. They're looking for us to avoid relegation and just basically establish ourselves at this level. Like I said, I think when we got promoted, it is a very sensible goal for this football club. When you look at the trajectory this club has been on over the last 10 or 15 years, becoming established at this level again, like we were for such a long time, that should be the goal. We shouldn't be looking to push beyond that, and we have to keep bearing that in mind when I get disappointed at not getting promoted and that kind of thing, because we should just be saying in this league. And equally, the board's plan is, Kev, stick within the wage budget and let's sell all our players at a profit. We are a selling club who are trying to be sensible financially, sell all our best players to keep financially afloat and stay in this league. That is success to them. They would have looked at that season. That's why I'm on an A+. It was the perfect season for them. They didn't need the promotion. So I kind of get it, but it's sad as a football manager player knowing that our best players are going to get whipped out from under us on a regular basis until we get that perfect season where we get 5 or 6 of them all together at the same time who don't leave and they drag us to the next league up, and all of a sudden we can start affording to keep them. But we'll say we're good enough to not be involved in a relegation battle. That seems to have pleased the boys. So we'll send them off on their summer holidays nice and happy. Looking at that team balance, there's not a lot we need to strengthen. We've obviously got good young players coming through, and Guema, who we saw in the last episode, a perfect example of that. I'd love to bring in a better striker, but financially, we're probably not going to be able to. So we're going to be looking at what we've got coming through the youth system. We already know about Lotis, and we've also got Russ Eddy, one of our name in the game guys, who's a striker. Suleimani Alexandra is a striker. There are strikers coming through, so maybe we just have to be patient and wait and acknowledge the fact that Tutu on his day is phenomenal. He just doesn't have his day very often. He's one of those strikers who scores in bursts. It looks like he's had quite a good season, but obviously we know what that final couple of games were like, and we know that long spell he had where he went nearly 20 games without scoring a goal. So although it looks okay, 13 and 28. I mean, he's got a goal contribution every other game, more than that. He's over it, averaging a 7.07. This is all good stuff. Yes, but he played 28 games and did 20 of them in a row where he didn't score a goal and averaged a 6.5. It's the other, just because he was brilliant in the other 8, I don't think we can rely on that. But we might have to, because financially, we're not going to be in a position to bring a load of new players in. We also need a defensive midfielder with David Carter departing, amongst others. And we will try and bring the young players back in on loan as much as we can. We'll try and keep those boys involved. This is a guy we tried to sign last summer. Remember him? He was on loan with us. Tried to sign on a free transfer, went elsewhere, and now looks like he's being sold for big monies, which is, it's frustrating. But yeah, I think we just kind of wait now until the 1st of July, see which of these stick around, see what we can bring in on free transfers and fill the gaps with youth players and loans. It's a very different kind of transfer special. We're just about hitting the point where the transfer window is going to open up and we can have some of the deals we've just agreed start to go through, but we've just had to pay a big tax bill. We also had to pay out £1.1 million in bonuses to our team. Luckily, we have a new soft drinks partnership at £1.3 million over 2 years. So our sponsorships are going to be going up again, but our bank balance wasn't looking too clever. We've just had a bunch of money appear. What is the did we get paid for the sponsorships all in one go? Why have we just been given £2.5 million in sponsorships? Oh, these are seasonal values. I thought that was the total value of the deal. Oh, we've got some big sponsorships now. Lovely stuff. Not much in the way of debt. Okay, the finance is looking a little bit better than first thought. We can afford a recruitment package, which we didn't have previously. Not a very expensive one, but there you go. We'll go for a recruitment package of sorts. We have got a couple of transfers already agreed to go on as soon as the window opens. If we have a look at the ones that are leaving, Odebert is leaving on a free transfer. We never really used him very much. So he's on his way. Kylian Benvindo, who actually agreed to sell. Not a bad piece of business here, really. Brought him in on a free transfer. Rinsed him dry last year. Didn't really use him this year. And we've sold him on for £24,000. Boubacar Camara is also being sold. We spent 37 grand on him last summer, selling him on at a slight loss at 28. At least we've managed to get some money for him. And probably most significantly, Theo Her is being sold for 85,000. He was fantastic for the lower leagues when we had him. Was a really, really solid goal scorer in National 2. But if I recall, he picked up an injury towards the end of that season and was never quite the same. Never reached his goal scoring exploits and just not cut out for this level. 25 appearances, only 3 goals. For us to get 85 grand for him, very, very happy with that. And we've got some youngsters coming in who presumably past Kev arranged most of these. I mean, who the hell are these lot? I don't know who any of these guys are. They look quite good. Genuinely don't know who those two are. The one I was coming here to show you is this guy, because I've just agreed this transfer for Thomas Chatson, who has been playing at this level sort of for the last several years. He was considered a sign at whatever price player. I know who these youngsters are that are coming in from Paris Saint Germain. I remember bringing them in. I am baffled as to who the rest of these guys are. I can only assume maybe they're coming into the B team. And the B team manager has done those. Or I did them before my holiday and completely forgot about it. Oh, boys and girls, Stephen Boyd. We can get £1.5 million. Obviously, we need the money now. I mean, we're probably giving up on multiple millions in the future, but to be able to get £1.5 million for him now is massive, because now all of a sudden we've got a great big transfer budget, which we can turn into a great big wage budget. Let's leave a little in the transfer budget. But now we've got a summer to play with. Stephen Boyd to the rescue. And what I was actually going to do as soon as the window opens, so we'll just hit continue a couple of times, I am going to try and get Vaquero and Boyd on loan. We've already extended the Oliver and Carter loans for another season. We're having to pay for both of them now. 3.7k a week for Oliver, 2.6 for Carter. But we'll definitely be going in for Boyd and Vaquero as soon as we can. I'm looking at this guy. We're getting a lot of these zero compensation players starting to come. You know how much I love splurging on wingers every summer. He is better than Sam Sana on right midfield. Of course, we've got Nguema, but we don't really have anyone else because we've just sold most of them. So maybe, I mean, he's been playing in Ligue 1. Maybe we do look to bring this guy in with our newfound riches. I've just agreed to things I didn't want to agree to. Okay, we do need a goalkeeper. We will play him there. I guess we'll just have to make sure we improve the coaching team. We probably can't afford this guy, to be honest. He's asking for a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing negotiations in real time. I suspect they're falling through. Yeah, you're not having that either. Obviously, you're not having that. Yeah, so we're not getting him. But there'll be a lot of that. A lot of negotiations that fall through because although we've just had that little bit of Stephen Boyd-shaped windfall, we still, as we saw earlier in the video, are pretty low on money compared to everybody else. But these are next season's contract renewals, so I'll go and do them off camera. I'll do my recruitment meeting off camera because none of that's particularly interesting stuff. And then we'll try and get those loans. I didn't realize we'd have all this. I thought I could just press continue a couple of times. And so it begins. Big offer for Deleste. Got to try and persuade him to stay. Troy are in Ligue 1. It is a big, big offer. I think we could get much more than this for him. But we're going to need to do one of those convince him to stick around jobs. I don't want to sell you. Where's the one that we say, I don't want to lose you. What will it take to keep you here? I want to play in Ligue 1. We've got young players coming through. He's not willing to wait. Right, now we need the reasonable amount. Oh, we're going to get big money for this guy. 3.5 million. How about 3.2? We'll agree on 3.1. Right, if they give us 3.1 million, then we'll accept it. But fingers crossed, that means we can now just reject anything below 3.1 all summer long, which would be lovely, lovely, lovely. We have made an offer to loan Vaquero, so hopefully that will go through any time now. It was accepted. We just need him to agree to come himself. And we have had a couple of the youngsters who've arrived who are out of contract, largely from Paris Saint Germain. That seems to be where they all come from. But we're just having a few contract renewals go through, as you can see. Lots of players getting their contract renewals, and Vaquero doesn't want to come. That's sad. I mean, he is too good for us, so we're not getting Vaquero back. What we have brought in is some of these youngsters that we were looking at before. Cedric Ranavoisen is a left winger, one of the ones off of Paris Saint Germain. We've got Paolo, who's a centre back / defensive midfielder, the new David Carter, who's in from Paris Saint Germain. And then this guy, Asela Ouali, who is a centre back who is in from Montpellier. They're the three that I definitely remember doing. And then Chasson, I definitely remember doing. It's these lot that I have no recollection of. Don't know who they are. That I need to have a word with Past Kev about. If they're good when they arrive, yay for us. I suspect they're B-team signings, maybe. I really don't know. Well, we have made it through to the 1st of July, so much in the way of transfers has gone on. The only thing that happened on contract deadline day thing the day before, Moustache is gone. We no longer have Moustache at the club. We also no longer have one of our backup goalkeepers. He's gone to Rodez. We have 6 players who've arrived. Remember, the majority of these are players that I don't really know why they're here or where they've come from. I'm still very confused about what Past Kev has been up to here, because they all seem very, very average players, but they have come into our first team. So Lucas Pellegrini, Yeah, he's here. Hakim Abdallah. He's here too. Apparently he was here before as well. Not when I was here. Hugo van der Smerch. These are all 26, 27, 28-year-olds as well. It makes no sense. He's here. This one I actually signed. Ian Gomez, because he's got a great name. He's called Iron. He's a central midfielder. He's better than anyone we've got at the club at the moment in central midfield. That is actually a signing that I did earlier, like 10 minutes ago. Hakim Orasama, again, I mean, nothing to do with me. They're fine squad players, I guess. And then Thomas Chachon, we know about from earlier in this video as well, who is definitely one that I did. So 6 new players in. I mean, none of them are terrible. They'll all do a job in the squad. The 2 that I distinctly remember signing will do a very good job in the squad, I'm sure. The other 4, sorry. If past Kev did sign them before I had my holiday and then didn't leave me a note to explain the thinking, current Kev has forgotten all about it and I don't really know what the plan was. Were we just desperate for players? I don't think we were. Oderbert's gone. This guy's gone. Don't know who he is. We're trying to offer out some of our fringe players. They don't want to go. And we now have a recruitment meeting thing. Yeah, we'll put these guys on the loan list. Yeah, we'll shuffle those around. And with all of these comings and goings, we now have a first team squad of 28 people. Is Lemina here on loan for another year? Yep. Okay. Obviously Oliver and Carter are as well. It's a big squad, but remember, some of these are going to move down to the under-23s or be moved on. Or I guess it's the B team, not the under-23s. So Kayamura we're trying to get rid of. Godan and Roncaglia are both on the transfer list. Boma's on the transfer list. Bar's on the transfer list. Lots of these players down this end are going to be moved on. And a few more of them, I think, are just going to go straight into the B team. Like Lucas Pellegrini. I genuinely don't know what the thought process was with this guy. He's cheap. He's on a 2-year contract inexplicably. He must have been signed for the B team. Does the B team manager do that? What am I looking for? Transfers. So my director of football will initialize signings for the first team, but not follow through on them. And no one should be signing players for the B team. It will forever be a mystery, but let's pretend the mystery doesn't exist and just deal with the squad as it is. We obviously have all of that extra Boyd money. We have £10,000 a week spare in the wage budget, £120,000 of transfer budget to spend, still a few more players to clear out, so more money will arrive, and it's free transfer day, so we're going to bring some trialists in. But looking at what we've got, a lot of these are suddenly showing as 5-star players, which is very odd. I mean, I don't even know anymore. Everything's going weird. I guess it's because we don't have an outstanding player like Boyd at the club anymore, or Vaquero. So obviously these star ratings, it's players comparing against other players in the squad. So I guess this is what what this is telling us is. I mean, hold on. I've changed it to role suitability. That makes a lot more sense. I was trying to come up with some nonsense. None of it was making sense to me. This makes a lot more sense. We need a striker. We know we need a striker. We're all right for wide players, especially with the new one coming in. We're pretty much set in midfield as well, but we desperately need a goalkeeper, and we could probably just use some young talent throughout the squad as well. But top priority, striker, goalkeeper. That's what we need to go get. Let's go. Where am I? Let's try and press the right buttons. Let's go have a look to see what is available for freebies. It's the 11th of July. We are having no luck at all trying to bring any players in. Although one guy we've got in on trial at the moment, we offered him a contract, and then immediately so did clubs including Manchester United, Paris Saint Germain, Monaco. I suggest we're probably not going to get this guy, but he seems quite good. He's not actually French. He would have broken the rule, but seemed worth breaking the rule for. But we've not brought anybody else in. We're trying, but everyone that we offer a contract to ends up signing for someone else. He's just the latest example of it. So we'll keep plugging away. But in other news, the media seem to have forgotten how inconsistent Tutu was last year. He's fourth favourite to be top scorer in the division. Maybe he's just young and inconsistent, and this will be a breakout year for him. We are still very much looking for a striker and a goalkeeper. We have had no joy finding either of them so far. So for now, we just continue bringing in everyone on trial that we can and offering contracts to many people and having them all turn us down. Oh my goodness me, that has been the most frustrating summer I've had in a long, long time. We've hit that point you sometimes hit in a Road to Glory save, where we've had too many promotions too close together. The club reputation hasn't caught up with the ability of the players. And you've heard me say it a million times before. Any player we can bring in, any player who'll sign for us, isn't good enough to get in our team. Anybody good enough to get in our team and improve us, we can't afford, or they go somewhere else, or they won't even discuss terms with us. We have done very little business this summer, to the point where we've just gone back in for Bradley Barcola, who was on loan with us last year, didn't do anything spectacular, but I've had him on trial all summer long, and he seems to be making remarkable progress. So we've brought him in, and he'll probably be a starter for us this time around. But that's about it. The only other guy who's come in, Cleo Melier, he's got lots of potential, which is great. He's going to be good. He's not there yet, though. And obviously, we've got our own great young right winger who's going to sit on that side this season. So it's not as if we're even potentially going to be using him. He was just a player who'd signed for us who's got potential. And that kind of is the story of the squad. Our best players now, Deleste and Nguema. It's insane what's gone on with this guy. I don't understand it. He has done the Mick Powell of all Mick Powells. But then Kaita, Tutu, Chachon, Cisse, Barcola, Gomez. These are the guys that we would expect to be the better players at the club, but most of them are the familiar names from last season. We'll be keeping a very close eye on Cyril Faure, 16 years old, hoping he can become the new Vaquero for us. Also, one of the other new boys, Paolo. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on his development, and Milier, who we've just brought in as well. And then down in the development centre, we do have a bunch of decent players. I've chucked some of these players down into the second team because we're just not going to use them. They might as well go and play down there because nobody will buy them. But we've got quite a few players with 5-star potential. There's 5 there that we're going to be keeping a close eye on this season. And if the opportunity presents itself, they will be pulled up into the first team and they will be used, as we've shown with lots of players so far. But with all of that faffing about, the team that's going to start the season in tomorrow's episode looks very familiar to the team that ended last season. We didn't get the goalkeeper. We didn't get the striker. So Tutu will be starting up front. Barcola and Nguema will be the new boys on the wings. Gomez will start in midfield, adding a bit of iron in there. And Van der Mersch, is he French? He is French. I mean, I would have checked when he came in. It's not a very French name. It sounds German to me. I imagine there's French people in the comments will tell me it's a really French name. What are you talking about, Kev? Just feels German to me, but I guess he could be over near the border somewhere. But yeah, there's just a few players who've been added in, and fingers crossed we can go. I guess we finished 1 point outside of the playoffs. We've improved a little bit, so maybe that's all we needed to do: improve a little bit, and we can improve a little bit results wise, and we might be okay. The media don't think we're going to get relegated this year. The board are happy if we just avoid relegation. So I guess we can just take whatever comes this season. We're not going to get relegated. We know that. And just let these young players develop, try and keep hold of them. We've got a little bit of money now to throw at these players to try and keep them at the club. I don't know if it will work, but for as long as we can keep a balance like that, they're not likely to be sold out from under me. And the really exciting thing is the better players are now showing higher transfer values. So the likes of Deleste, Cisse and Nguema, we're not going to be selling players for £600,000 and that being an offer we can't refuse anymore, hopefully. But that's it. No more players coming in yet. Anyway, once again, the season is starting in July. So we've got 9 games that are going to be played between now and the transfer window closing. So a quarter of the season done before the squad is finalised, similar to what it was last year. So there will still be players. We've still got 5-6 weeks of trying to bring players in, but we're starting the season with a team that's very similar to the one that ended last year. Look at that. We had to have 2 friendlies with this lot because they signed 2 players off of us. One extra guy came to the second one. he was sick for the first one 3 days earlier, apparently. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.